And we're back with Whiskey Watches the Wheels, episode 4 now. For those that listened last week, we finished with saying that we were going to do a part 2, and this is part 2. For those watching on YouTube, that's why we're all wearing the exact same shit. So
I'm
same
saying
evening.
3B.
There you go.
It's 3B.
All right, guys. So we're back. So where do we want to start? I know we had some notes.
Fresh drink.
We have a fresh drink. Well, actually, I did. I'm drinking. I went hard liquor. I got Jack and Coke here. So
nice. Wow, breaking the seal. Solid.
Breaking the seal.
A little peer pressure.
He'll be peeing within the episode.
Long night.
Yeah.
So, all right. So where do we want to start, guys? So,
well, as we always, we always talking about our little group text. So we had an interesting thing. I don't know what we want to go with first, but let's talk about gloves or not gloves with driving. Casey,
now, are you talking?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking gloves on the track or gloves in the mountains?
No, the reason I brought that up was because I'm watching YouTube, and there's not YouTube, but Instagram, and there's some guys that always like to do, some nice GT3 pulls, get some engine sounds. I love it, right? That's why when you crank up your phone, you shove it in your ear, and you're like, you're in love. But occasionally they'll have that front dash view, and the goober is like on the interstate or stoplight to stoplight wearing leather gloves, with
snapped?
like the white.
Are they snapped closed?
Usually not, right? The strap is open and it's got the white
bare knuckles.
Yeah.
Oh, does it have the white mesh?
Yes, the white mesh. And you're like, I don't know who that is, but I hate him. I hate him. I don't need to know another thing except that he's wearing those fucking gloves, stoplight to stoplight, and I hate him.
James, do you wear gloves?
On the track, yes.
Okay.
Driving in the mountains, driving on the road, no.
Okay.
Matt? Absolutely not.
So, no.
That's yes.
So, no. Stacy bought me a pair. I have never worn them. So full transparency. So when we were in Farron 2 years ago, I had an issue because my 997 has the factory leather steering wheel. And when we were driving in the mountains, Spirited or whatever, my hands kept getting sweaty, and I'm like, I need gloves or something. So she bought me a pair, but by the time that she bought them for me, I did the Alcantara wrap on the steering wheel, and that solved my problem. So I own a pair. They're in the glove box, but I've never actually worn them.
Well,
and
let's give kudos to Matt though, real quick, because he did that wrap by himself, and it looked legit. It looked really good.
I wanted an Alcantara steering wheel for the car. And to get an original, regular, Porsche tax wheel, they're anywhere between $1,100 and $1,500, and I'm not doing that for a steering wheel. I'm not, So I bought online a kit that you sew on yourself, and said, well, for $130, I'll try it, and it worked out well. It looks really, really good. Everyone that looks at it thinks it's factory, So
did you take off your leather one and put that? Oh, you just put it on top of it?
It goes right over top. So it did two things for me. One, it gave me the extra, grip that I wanted. And two, the 997
extra girth too.
Has a very thin wheel. And so especially because I have a base Carrera, it's not even an S. So although I think they had the same wheel. Well, they do have the same girth. So I have the regular triangle wheel, and I have the sport wheel with the circular airbag. But it gave extra girth as well. So it was a twofold. And it's good.
I will say that me and my 997 have better than average girth. But the steering wheel, it's the one thing on the 997 that kind of makes me scratch my head. I think everything else about that car is awesome. But that steering wheel is just too thin. And I don't understand it. But I think I will go down the path that you've gone, Matt, and pick up one of those kits. But back to the gloves, it's unbelievable. I've seen, actually, I was driving down the interstate the other day and passed somebody. What was he in? I want to say a BMW, which kind of makes sense, I guess, but wearing gloves. And I sit there and I literally looked at him.
On the highway.
On the highway. And I slowed down just to sit and stare at him as I passed.
Shake your head.
Like, what in the hell are you doing? But gloves on anywhere except the track, and perhaps if you're really hammering in the mountains, but no gloves.
Look, there's people I respect that wear gloves when we're in the mountains. They're really fast. They're really fast. I'm not speaking of Kevin. No.
Apple livery.
No.
Well, I have something to say about that because I had bought. So I have a Alcantara steering wheel, which is expensive.
Exactly.
I do sweat when I'm spirited driving, so I didn't want to ruin the Alcantara
especially when James is behind him.
Yes, exactly. So I did buy gloves, and I bought some tan ones. The dye that came off of that from my sweat that came off on my hands and on my steering wheel, I had to like wipe it off. So I got rid of that. And in fact,
the steering wheel. Off the steering wheel?
Yes.
That's it's like the reverse Michael Jackson.
Yes. It was on the steering wheel. And I just had to put my shifter back on my 991 when I traded it in. And I looked at it and it was like tan all around it. I do wear, you guys don't see me because you're behind me, but I do wear OMP.
Well played.
Well played. I don't see. I'm behind everybody. I don't see nobody.
I do wear OMP gloves, but I do have to roll this. I don't know. You're right, Casey. I feel like I cannot wear them, even if I'm hauling ass on the interstate racing, like other cars and stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like a DB
douche
wearing them in just like regular. But when we're in the mountains, my hands do sweat, and I don't even want to have the cuffs. Like I roll them up a little bit. They're like a little bit cooler. But they're neutral. So they're just raw.
I have noticed though that on the highway, Kevin does flip up the lid on his helmet so he doesn't have to look through the plastic.
Listen, it's very difficult to go through the McDonald's drive-through wearing a helmet, but Kevin pulls it off. So
I told Aaron when we were going to Farron, I said, "Do you think we'll get pulled over if I wore my like my Hans device and we have helmets with the communicators in them? Like, I mean, it's not illegal because you see them on those slingshots and shit, right? So exactly, like we could just be like communicating because the car's so loud, anyways." I said. She's like, "No, Kevin, we're not doing that shit." I'm like, "Can I just wear a helmet?" And she's like, "No, Kevin, you can't." Can you imagine that? Just driving in the mountains with just a helmet and Ridge Club's like, but we're goofballs. So, this year I'll do.
Well, I was going to say,
we should all show up with helmets and be like, "Hey guys, we're fucking ready."
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that'd be freaking awesome. Well, I was going to say what Kevin was saying. If you have a $200,000 to $300,000 car with an Alcantara steering wheel, I'll give you a pass if you're wearing gloves because
not on the freeway though. I still don't.
No,
I will not.
No. But I mean that Alcantara can get fucked up pretty quickly, and it is not easy to necessarily clean or replace.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think I'll give someone like on a GT3 car. I think that steering was like $3,500.
Oh yeah, it's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually, I may, because the steering wheel in the 997, especially the one I have, because I have the stock, the triangle one. One good thing Porsche is good about is pretty much every generation steering wheel is interchangeable with the other. So I may pull that off and toss in a steering wheel from like a 991.2 or something like that.
You're gonna have to research that one. You're gonna have to research that one. You're gonna have to research that one. I'm not sure that's even going to work.
Yeah, it is.
You sure?
They've already done it. Positive. Matter of fact, you can pull one out of a Cayenne, and put it on there. So especially because mine, because I have no
of Casey's because he can't drive it any longer.
I don't have any
switches.
Switches. Yeah, it's just a wheel.
Because he has space model.
Yeah, you don't want the one out of my Cayenne. James, it too is thin.
What's that?
James, you have a Alcantara on your G body, don't you?
No, I do not.
Yeah. That Momo?
The Momo is not. No, it's leather wrap.
Leather?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I don't have any Alcantara on any of my cars. Nope. So I'm lucky I don't have to really worry about some of those issues that you guys have as far as
I don't have to worry
the
about
wheels or the seats or anything like that.
That's why I did what I did. If mine gets fucked up, I tear it off and put a new one on.
Well,
Yeah, and
I'm sorry to
it's
interrupt
worth
you.
it.
I
No,
think
go
that
there
there are some really good Alcantara cleaners out there now that
There is.
it's not as big
There
of
is.
a deal.
It's called water.
Is it
It's
French
not as-
water?
Mhm.
It's
Period.
LaCroix.
Is it La Croix?
Yeah.
It's La
Unbelievable.
Croix.
All right, so that ends the debate. We all
There we
think
go.
So,
everyone's a
are we-
douchebag who drives it on the freeway.
Yeah, with gloves. Well, listen,
So
you know,
we're
to your point
agreeing
about
on
dyes.
gloves.
So anyone who's ever ridden a motorcycle with gloves on and get stuck in a rainstorm,
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
have some. Oh yeah, you
Black
get home and you
hands.
pull them off, and your black hands are black. I mean, it's like, what the hell happened? It's ridiculous. You're
It's only the
scrubbing,
first time,
yeah.
though. Only the
Hey,
first
you know
time.
what?
Yeah.
The only company that has not done that, Icon. Casey, have you used Icon
Oh,
gloves?
really?
I
Never had the dye come off.
Am I allowed to speak freely? Is this a safe
Yes.
space?
Yes.
I would
Yeah, of
never
course safe
wear
space.
Icon.
Really? Why not?
It's not good. I've
No?
seen that stuff tear up on the track on
Oh,
guys
okay.
wrecking. Yeah, I would never wear Icon.
And what would you
So,
use?
so were you saying I need to throw my Icon helmet away?
Oh, yes.
I
would
I
say
don't
yes
wear it
on
anymore.
that.
I don't wear it. I bought it because I thought it looked cool. It's the one that, you know, looks like the damn. It's got the whole big ass visor and everything.
It's
You know,
for foreign now.
Um,
It's for foreign next year.
yeah, no. I wore it for like a year and then changed it with my bell. So
What gloves do you use, Casey?
So I buy a set of gloves. The guy's name, his company's name is called Hazardous Racing, but really he buys contract leather from Pakistan, and it's a custom suit, custom gloves. But this guy, I'm sure that when you get contacted by these wholesalers or whatever from Pakistan, I'm sure they have tiers of quality or whatever. But I've wrecked in this suit too many times, and it has held up extremely well. The padding's great. The leather's been great. His gloves, I've had AGVs. I've got scars on my pinkies where those have rubbed through when I've wrecked on the asphalt. And his gloves, the Hazardous Racing gloves, have saved me a couple of times. And I usually replace my gloves after each wreck just because that stuff is really high impact. They get really hot, so I don't want to go twice on that. But I think
it's called a slide, isn't it? I don't think it's called a wreck.
No, I wreck. If I was graceful, I would call it a slide. But no, when I wreck, I tend to go all out, right? But
you do it well.
It's something. But yeah, his equipment has been fantastic. And there's I hate to say that it's similar to other stuff out there, but there are other similar companies like Bison. There's Hazardous. There's I can't even think of it right now, but they all probably buy it from the same dudes in Pakistan. But the quality of the leather is good, and they're innovating. There's taking from what the big names suits are doing, shark skin, and you can get kangaroo. You can get the highest CE level padding and whatnot. But yeah, it's that's what I wear.
So my managers are going to be like, "We're not selling Icon anymore."
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I like the perforated
All of
gloves.
our Icon sales.
Well, I like the perforated gloves because you're not getting protection from those anyways. But I like them just because they're cool as far as your hands aren't sweating and stuff like that. A little bit of something's better than nothing. But I typically don't run gloves when I'm riding anyways, and I'm sure we get a bunch of kids and haters.
Yeah, but you guys are talking about two different kinds of riding here, right, Kevin?
Correct.
Yeah, but you know what? I just had a
leisure.
I
Casey's
just
talking
had a
track.
debate. Yes, but I just had a debate with some fucking, there you go, I said it, keyboard warrior talking about we were doing a video, and I think our daughter was on a motorcycle, and she's just riding like in a parking lot. We're just doing
in
a
the
YouTube
parking
video.
lot,
Yeah, just doing. Oh, she don't have a helmet. She don't have gloves. Do you realize that the highway patrol wear spandex? They're on the road on their motorcycle more than anybody on. They're wearing spandex. They're not wearing full leathers. They're wearing a half helmet, and they are. Go ahead, Casey. I don't have to tell you. Like,
and hooker boots. They wear like knee-high boots.
Hooker, yes, they do. We were knee highs.
It is, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous. The costume that they wear out on the interstate, it's not protective.
No,
A lot of times you'll see them in their
It's
button up.
not even badass.
No, it's not. But the button up with the short sleeves, that's personally not something I would ever ride in. And I'll tell you, here's a real short story. I'll tell you why that decision is. I used to make fun of the guys who were, what do they call it? All gear all the time. Until I was in college. I had bought an Aprilia brand new off the showroom floor, right? I love this bike. And I was ripping up Waller Avenue back in Lexington. I'll never forget it. And I go through the stoplight, and I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And I'm like, I get halfway down Waller as I'm headed to my parents' house. Both my parents rode motorcycles as well. But I was halfway down Waller, and I said, you know what? I'm being a douchebag. I didn't wear gloves. I didn't wear a jacket. I'm going to turn around. I was no more than 3 minutes from the house. I'm going to turn around and go get my gloves and jacket. So I pull a Yui, and I'm going through. My red light is, my stoplight is green. I've got the proper way. I proceed to accelerate because I'm 19 years old. And so I proceed to accelerate through this light at a high rate of speed. And I swear to you, some piece of shit pickup truck comes and runs their red light.
Oh, wow.
And I clipped the tailgate that was down. Okay. I clipped it with my front turn signal. And I pulled over on the side of the road, and I'll be 100% honest. I broke down crying because I thought that, holy shit, I had just accelerated from like 0 to 80 in 3 seconds going through this stupid stoplight 1 mile from my house. And had that happened like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds earlier, I would have broadsided this stupid piece of shit S10. And who knows what the hell would have happened. And from that moment forward, I said, I don't care how hot it is. I will wear at the very least jeans, my boots, and at least one of those Techstar, I think it was called, one of those like perforated jackets and gloves. And from then on, that was my base outfit leaving the house. And I'll tell you, being down in Pigeon Forge like you were for Thanksgiving, Matt, that's one of the outfits I wore going through the Gap at one point. It's hot, right? And on
no shit, yeah.
1000cc V twin Aprilia, right? The two fans are just sitting on the edge there, just blowing into your crotch. And there's nothing like being 100 degrees outside and having that 180, 190 degree air just growing over your crotch. But I'd much rather sweat than bleed. And I tell you, I never wrecked on the street, not one time. But having been down on the track and worn through a pair of gloves, I'll take the sweating any day.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Wow.
Cool. So we also had on our list, James brought up, you heard P-car prices are dropping, James?
I'm hearing rumors of that. Not so much the air cooled. I think the air cooled is pretty stable. But my understanding is that a lot of the GT cars, GT3s, GT4s, RS, that type of situation, are discounted and used. They're dropping. So some of these numbers that I see, other people see, are quite surprising. I think everyone always expected it to go up. But I think that those GT cars are a little bit more available than we've been led to believe in the past.
Like
my understanding is,
what are you talking about? Like 991.2, 991s, 992s?
No, I'm talking 991.2s, 992s.
Yep.
Well,
right.
And we kind of know that to a certain extent, right? Because they started producing those at super high numbers. The 997.1 GT3 is unobtainium. The they didn't make that. The 997.2 GT3 is unobtainium, right? Like that was 1,000 units, something like that, 1,200 units, like very, very few. And they're still, at least from what I've seen, $150,000, $175,000 cars.
They
Right.
did
More
make a
than
991, 997.1 though. Isn't that what Mike has? It has the lug nuts.
Yes.
And then
yeah.
and then Aaron
So-
has a 997.2, which came with a center lock, which
Correct.
his car is significantly a lot more. And then you have a 99, like even my 991. You know, I thought at one point it was 150, like
Yeah.
150, and I thought it was going to keep on
And
going
they've
up.
come
And
down.
they have come down.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's one of the
Well,
reasons
well,
why. Yeah,
But that's
One of the
because
things-
those production numbers went through the roof comparatively. They went much higher than the 997 generation.
Yeah, I don't know if we said this in the past or not, but I know that when there was a chip shortage and the war in Ukraine with the harnesses,
Mhm.
you know, Porsche was like, well, what's our most profitable car? It's their GT car. So they just started banging them out with the parts they had available. So I wonder if that's coming back now to bite them. I don't know. But
Well, it's not them.
Kevin just bought
They-
a 992 GT3, and the price that he paid for that was
Exactly.
deal.
amazing.
And the
Amazing.
thing too is that car. I also think too, like, I mean, let's face it, the 992 GT3 RS, you know, they're putting $100,000 ADM on it, and you wait a year, and the ADM's gone.
Mhm.
Someone that
Yeah.
same guy wants,
They're getting
and
burned.
100%. The same guy that had that car probably bought not my particular car because I'm a first owner because it was owned by Porsche, but a lot of other people, I think they get that car, and we know people like that. They get the
Sure.
I got RS, and it's just a flex, and they're taking a hit.
You can't, the RS, you can't drive that on the street. That's
So-
just a track
come on,
car.
you know who's gonna drive that shit on the street?
You can
Like-
drive it on the street. You just can't go on a trip because it has no frunk.
Can I give some actual numbers here?
Sure.
So,
please.
996.1 GT3,
So what year is that? So for some of the listeners,
99 to 01.
okay,
Roughly, I don't want to, 1,868 units.
wow,
Okay. 996.2, which is 03 to 05, 2,300 units. 997.1, which is 2006, 2009, 2,400 units. 997.2, which is 09 to 11, 2,300 units. 991.1, which is 13 to 16. Here's the kicker: 6,300 units.
so three
And
times.
Wow.
Then the 991.2 GT3, 17 to 20, whatever
One.
the year is, 9,500 units.
Wow.
So
Like printing money. They just keep.
obviously
make them.
Porsche figured something out, right? Which is good on them. At the same time, everyone, I think, the common person doesn't know this as the units are being produced, right? So they still think the scarcity is the same as it's historically been, and it just drives that cost through the roof.
Well, case in
And
point,
That's why
you
they
said
sink
that-
the ships.
Yeah, you said right now, like a 997.2 is unatanium. It's almost the same amount as the 997.1.
Correct.
So the
Yeah.
difference is center lock wheels, a little bit different aero package. You know, we have a friend that got in
I think the main engine difference
Oh,
is
that's
the DFI engine versus the Metzger.
Mm.
Metzger, right?
Yeah.
So you know, one of our friends he hit a deer on our Farron, and it's $8,500 for the bumper.
Wow. Did he get that repaired yet or no?
No, he had to get
No.
he had to get a supplement. I think it's gonna take like 4 weeks for them to get the bumper.
Mm.
85, and the
Oh,
shitty
that's
part
right,
of-
because they offered him a aftermarket bumper, right?
the shitty part is if he had a 997.1, he could have bought that same bumper for $1,100.
Yeah, they're everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Now,
And that's
the-
probably
the-
what
the-
I put in the GT3 radiator in the front. I didn't do
Mhm.
the smiley up top. I just did the cutouts underneath because that's easier to do. But I'll probably end up getting a GT3 bumper just for the aero help
Yeah.
and the cooling. But you're right, it's $1,100.
Yeah, all
Now the
over
important
the
thing
place.
is, did he say the deer hit his windshield? And that's where the crack came from.
yes.
Yes.
So his car is getting fixed. Sorry about that, guys. It is getting fixed. surprisingly, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, James, it was just me and James.
Mhm.
That deer flipped 20 feet up in the air, man. It was, and surprisingly, luckily, I think that deer was jumping, and we just clipped he just clipped the legs because it just put a slit in the bumper, and it did bend the hood. And they wanted to put he did find out they wanted to put a hood off of the junkyard place in California, and he said
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
I didn't
glad I
think they
wasn't
were even
behind
allowed
that
to do
person.
that.
no. Huh? I didn't think so neither. But I mean, I'm not going to say the name of the insurance company. It's a good company, but yeah, I think they're going to try to do whatever they can do and pass it off. I think that's what, as a owner, I had my sister-in-law. She had an Audi car, and the roll bar, I guess, it hit, and the little roll bar things came up. She actually made them pay the value, the diminished value of the car. Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that.
Do all that stuff. Yeah, but you have to do all that stuff. Just like going to the doctor, you have to be your own advocate. They're going to give you the cheapest shit no matter what.
Yeah,
And if you say yes, then they're happy. They're saving money. So even replacing windshields, they want you to just go to the normal places and they throw in some crap. And I'm like, I'm only getting OEM. You put an OEM in it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have little chips in mine. It's not horrible, but I don't know about the other models, but in the 997, like all of your antennas and shit is built into the glass.
Same.
So it's a nightmare, So
well, on the GT cars, there's only two companies that makes them. Actually, there's one company that makes them. They're out of Poland, and I went aftermarket because this is the second windshield that I've replaced. I know our friend; he's done like 4 of them. The Poland, there's only one place that does the GT, and again, that's from the 991s, that one, so I could be mistaken, but I just went
Florida.
with that.
Is that covered on insurance?
It is, yeah.
You
guys don't have that South Carolina or in Virginia?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
absolutely, we do.
Yeah, we have zero deductible windshield as well. It is an option that you pay for.
Okay.
But it's only like $1 a month. Or at least on my insurance, it's very cheap.
So so that brings a good question. So because I have declared value insurance through Hagerty, and I've always wondered about. I mean, with regular insurance in Florida, it's automatically covered if it's cracked or whatever. But I've always wondered, does it work the same way on a declared value insurance, or is it different? It
does.
I have no idea.
Because I had declared value with another company, which that's a very good point that we can segue. I got this new car, and I'm very upset with. I'm not even going to say who the company is, but. They wanted pictures. They wanted my deck pages. They told me, we can only find that car has sold for $250,000. I'm like, I can't even buy this car.
It wasn't Hagerty. How about that?
It wasn't Hagerty.
No, it was not Hagerty. No.
I reached out to James, and I reached out to Dave over Dave at Sonderworks, and I reached out to another guy, and they all had Hagerty. Hagerty was more expensive when I first had my car, but as I've accumulated more cars, I was paying the one other company wanted $4,800 plus I was paying for Progressive for my wife's car like 20 something. It was $7,200. Long story short, with Hagerty, I called them up and they said, "Hey, I'm getting 4 cars insured for less than 2." They didn't ask for pictures. They didn't ask for mileage.
Yeah, when you said pictures, I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh, the lady even told me, she goes, "What are you using the card for?" And I said, "Oh, well, I go on this trip." And she goes, "Are you staying in a hotel?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm staying." We don't like the car parked outside. I'm like, "Well, it's a Porsche event." "Oh, well, that's different. That's a hobby." I'm like, "What the hell?" And then can we see your deck pages for your other cars that your daily drivers? And then they're like, "Oh, we see that you have your daughter that lives with you. Can you see?" Yeah, it's on the deck page.
Yeah. And then you know what? You show up at any of these events and no one from that company is anywhere near those events, right?
No.
I go to any event here in the Charlotte region and there's a representative, multiple representatives from Hagerty. So they may be taking over everything, but there's a reason they are.
The customer service was on point. I didn't find them to be too expensive. Once you get multiple cars, I think they know you can only drive one car anyways. I did have a good experience. I know, Matt, you have them. Casey, is that who you have as well?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'll tell who I have it after you're done here.
So no, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, God forbid, nothing happens, and I don't have to. Our friend that did get in an accident, he has Grundy, and he said they're not.
Mhm.
They were great. They're fine. Again, they wanted to put aftermarket stuff on there, but at least they did. They cut him the check and stuff like that. So I did talk to Grundy. I tried to, and they. I don't know what the pricing was because they took too long to respond.
Yeah,
So
I would have just paid. I would have never gone through insurance on that one.
Yeah.
for the deer.
Just
I
saying.
think I agree with you.
Just saying.
$8,500 for a bumper. That's
How much
I
is
don't
that
even
going to
know what
cost over time?
I
Okay,
don't even
so
know.
is that 20% of the value of the car if there's an accident on it?
So I did talk to him about that, and he said that the difference
Accident's
is
an accident.
Yeah, I know. He said the difference is he didn't see that the difference was. He'll probably listen to it, but the
Yeah.
podcast. But he
I
did
mean,
say
it's our own personal choices and what
Right.
you can and can't do. But
remember,
something like that.
also, the repercussions are different on a per state basis, and almost it
Mhm.
seems like an individual basis. So how they react in Florida may be different than how they act in Carolina.
well, it's still going to
My-
show on
my car
Carfax,
has
isn't
a-
it?
Yeah, my
Well,
car
that's
has a
true. Yeah.
minor collision on the back passenger quarter panel that was on the Carfax. I knew it, and it really has an effect. I mean, I don't know that it has an
That
effect on
rap
the
has
value, but
done
the values are
miracles
still up
then.
there. Yeah.
And that's
So,
what,
well, full transparency though. So they did a really good job. Like I would have never even known if it wasn't the Carfax. That being said, when I got the car, it had the rock chip protectors on the back quarter panel, and it really pissed me off because I had a guy come out because they were old. The car's an 07. I had a guy take them off and put new ones on. But when he took them off, freaking whoever did
The paint
the
peel.
repair didn't take them off. So there's a line of clear coat above it. Right. Who doesn't
What?
remove so right. So when he took them off, there was a line of you can see where the clear coat was. And so he goes, hey, the new ones are a little different. He goes, but I can cut it to trim it. And so he did a great job. He cut, he trimmed the rock chip thing, and you once it's on, you can't tell because it is exact same thickness all the way through. But yeah, so I'm going to be interested to see, well, long story short, when the wrap comes off, I know those are going to come off at the same time, so I'll probably put it in a shop and because I got some chips up front and everything. Nothing
Yeah,
major.
just do
I
a
drive the car,
correction.
so I'll do some correction. I mean, really, they could wet sand that back corner and probably be fine with it. So I'll fix that.
So
after that.
I have Progressive, and how I got to Progressive, I don't know. I've been with them 15, 16 years. It's been a long time. But for my 14 Cayenne, 08 Cayenne, 08 911, and a trailer, I pay $160 a month.
what?
Full coverage.
Wow, that's amazing.
But you live in a police state.
I do live in a Pinko state. And that's with $0 deductible replacement on the glass on all three, because they all three need windshields. But they
Because
will
you have
not,
been there for 15 years. I've heard of that. That the longer you
Maybe-
have been.
yeah, maybe that's
No
true, and
accidents.
it's been multiple vehicles, motorcycles, etc. But that's currently no bikes. Those are just the vehicles in the trailer that I described. The one caveat, so I'll end up probably leaving them, is because they will not do an agreed upon value. They will
Yeah.
not do it under any circumstance.
Well, you don't
So,
have to leave
with this-
everything, right?
well,
you
maybe-
can,
Right. I'll see what makes sense financially.
Yeah, just
But
take off the whatchamacallit and put it on with another
Yeah.
company.
I'll
Yeah,
have
put
to
on Hagerty.
do Hagerty probably
Yeah.
for the 911, because that value after the engine will have to be substantially
And
more.
then I did
Yeah.
learn an agreed value versus a stated value is different. That's what at least the other lady was telling me.
What is the difference?
I don't know. At one point, I just stopped listening, and I was so pissed off. I must have told the story like 5 times today, and my daughter was like, "She's gonna laugh because she's gonna hear this because it became a joke." And she's like, "Do you
You
know
hope
that
she
they
hears
didn't?" Yeah, she's like, "Do you know that they didn't? They wouldn't insure the car." I'm like, "What, Savannah?" Yeah, I know that. She's, "I know you told everybody." So,
She's such an asshole.
oh, yeah. So we're talking about her later when we're talking about like what we did for Thanksgiving. So
yeah.
Well,
Well,
the
for
911 is
me,
my
I
cheapest.
split my insurance as well, right? So because I have a had a teenager on my insurance. So I took the collectible cars and I did that with Haggerty without her on that. And then I took the other cars and went with somebody else that had her on there so she could drive those cars. So that wound up saving me a significant amount of money.
Oh yeah, well that's what I was getting to. So Casey's Mr. No Children. So I have the 911, obviously through Haggerty. So I pay for 3 Hyundais. Right, my wife has a Sonata, my son's got an Elantra, my daughter's got an Accent. All right, because my truck is a fleet vehicle on our company policy. So all 3 cars with 4 drivers, $790 a month through Allstate.
I never want to hear about
Fuck me.
Yeah, when Savannah, we had to do that early on. That's why I put her own insurance, because at that time, I don't know what I had. I think I'm not even going to say what I had because I don't want to get clowned.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Bryce, so we were going to put Bryce on his own policy.
No,
and we have Allstate now, and Allstate's been great to us. We've had Allstate since the 90s. And they're like, listen, if you can just hang on till he at least turns 21, it'll help, and he's 21 now, but he's still in college, it's not, a hindrance at the moment. So, I just keep paying it, whatever. So,
all right, next subject. I'm done with car insurance.
You done with car insurance?
Pretty boring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What everyone do over the Thanksgiving break?
Casey,
Casey did with the most
Casey
exciting.
got the show.
You start, Casey.
So here's how it started. I bought that damn boat, right? I bought that boat, and all I want to do is fucking ski behind the boat. And I have no one else to drive the boat except my wife. And she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't pull me up on the fucking ski or the wakeboard. And I'm like, all I want you to do is just, can I have some fun here? And so she conned me. I conned her. I don't know what it is. But I said, if you learn to drive the boat and so I can ski and wakeboard, we can do our Thanksgiving vacation. And she decided that Thanksgiving vacation should be Iceland. Very cool place. Very cool place. It's unlike anywhere else I've been, right?
No pun intended.
No pun intended, because it wasn't ultimately that cold. It's been colder here at home the last couple of days than it was in Iceland.
Wow.
I've learned that their temperatures are pretty stable. They can be cold, especially for you all in Florida, but it'll get down into 20s and 30s. That's their wintertime temperatures. Now, the caveat is the wind can be 60 miles an hour, which we experienced. That was pretty wild. But then their summertime temperatures are like in the 60s, maybe hit 70.
So they never get below 0?
0 degrees.
Like 20 below? Like Canada?
No.
Oh, wow.
No. So here we are. We saw some waterfalls. This is a pretty cool waterfall. We did get some snow. Their snow is very similar to here in Virginia, where it comes down and then 2 days later it melts because it hits 40 degrees. So we experienced that. It's very cool. To see the frozen like tundra. It's all like low-laying brush. They don't really have a bunch of tall trees except what Europeans brought over much later. So that's very cool. Glaciers are just wild. Seeing how the glaciers dug out, the mountains. We went snorkeling in a glacier lake. Let's see, what else we do? We
got
saw
more
the
pictures, Matt?
we saw the Northern Lights. There you go, which are fucking amazing and weird. And I tell you, it's no wonder like the native people and the people who settled in, the 900s, etc., why they thought that God was talking to them or some spirit was up there, because these things just shoot across the sky. And they make the coolest day was our first day at the Land Hotel. Shout out Land Hotel. It was beautiful. We're out in the middle of nowhere. And we're out there. It's cold. The clouds are rolling by. It's super windy. It's actually kind of miserable. And the Northern Lights start coming by, and they hit a spot like right above us, and it kaleidoscopes. It turns red, purple, green. It's just wild. Certainly something to
that green is actually very rare. It's actually they call it the watermelon. They just had it in Anchorage, and they haven't had that in like a number of years. I just saw it on the news, and I sent a picture. I asked my friend who's in Alaska in Fairbanks, and he sent me pictures too. He said that the green is actually pretty rare for the lights. What are they actually called?
What's the aurora?
The aurora.
There you go.
Borealis.
Yes, thank you. But it's a cool place. You know, there's earthquakes all the time because there's the whole place is made up of volcanoes. But seeing the tectonic plates, and the glacier lake was in between the tectonic plates. You're like driving on the new land that's come up from the magma. I mean, it's a cool place. We ate. It's a lot of fish. It's a lot of like salmon and cod, very common. And then we ate reindeer, which is not too abnormal, but that's pretty much like beef. We had whale, which is surprisingly good. We had horse, and the weird thing about Iceland is they have the Icelandic horse, which has, this may be stupid to most people, but I found it interesting, is they have a fifth gait. Most horses just have 4 gaits, like walk, trot, canter, and gallop. And the Icelandic horse has like another one. I don't really know what it looks like.
How did you like it? I've had it before, and I did not care for it.
The horse?
Yes.
I fucking loved it. It was so
Really?
good.
I had hamburgers.
Really?
So horse burgers.
So
Wow.
the way they served us the whale and the horse was very similar, and it was basically seared like ahi tuna, really, really like a hard sear, and then the inside was almost rare, and it was exceptional. Really found it to be good. But so if you get a chance to go to Iceland, I say 100% go, but prepare to pay for food and drink. The food and the drink is super expensive. Everything's imported, although they do grow their own tomatoes. But the food's very expensive. But it's a cool place, and especially if you're outdoorsy, you can do like ice cave. I don't know what it'd be called, a hike or something, but you can go through ice caves. You can go through glacier walks. We did so much walking around Reykjavik. Black Sand Beach, which is super cool. They have a place that's called like Diamond Beach, which is the volcanic rock black beach, but then there's ice chunks in it, so it looks like diamonds. I mean, it's a cool place. It's very outdoorsy. It's very different.
Did you see Bjork there? Did you say hello to her?
I mean, I would have.
Yeah, Casey, I believe you call that spelunking.
Spelunking, yeah. That's actually the second time I've heard that word today. Not a, yeah. Anyway, but yes.
I saw a video about spelunking what time, but it's not what you thought.
Did you see any cool cars on that note?
All right, so the cars. I did see one 911. I was super happy. I yelled a little bit on the bus. That was cool. But most of the cool cars I saw were off-roaders. A lot of old Land Cruisers, Excursions, Suzuki
Defenders.
A lot of Defenders, yeah. Jimnys, Jimny by Suzuki. They look like little Jeeps, Jimny.
Huh.
They put lifts on them, 4-wheel drive. Everything's diesel. And they put these almost, I don't know what the name of the tire is, but it almost looks like a balloon tire, and it's for getting up on the glacier. And then they have this like onboard air system so they can inflate, deflate like on the go. Super, super cool. I definitely want one. But that
was on a Ford. Wasn't that on a Ford? That you sent us a picture?
The picture I sent you was like a Ford Excursion.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a picture of it. I'm trying to find
of the Jimny?
No, of the van. It was
the van, the off-road van. I'm
That
trying to
was
find
like
the
a
photo, but you
right.
text so much that
I think
it takes
was
forever to scroll.
It was like an E250 or something,
Econoline
or something. But I saw the Excursions, a lot of Land Cruisers, or the newer Lexus, version Land Cruiser, the Jimnys. Really cool stuff that we definitely don't have here in the States. In the Jimnys, I mean, again, they were everywhere, and they're so cheap. If you look them up on the internet, they're really fucking cheap. I kind of want one just to beat around on the property.
Is it like
So,
the
yeah.
new version of a Suzuki Samurai?
I didn't get a look inside, so I don't know how the inside would compare. But they're running around just like Wranglers, like they're everywhere, and you can tell they're tin cans. But they put a lift on them, put these big ass tires on them. They're fucking cool.
Was this it here?
So, what was the highlight?
Was that the Jimny?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the Jimny right
Jimny.
there.
See, it's stupid looking, but you put a lift on it and some big old wheels, and it could be
It literally
fun.
looks like a Suzuki Samurai.
Yeah. The highliite for me
Looks
was
like a Mercedes to me. It looks like a G-Wagon, the mini
G-Wagon.
Little
G-Wagon.
mini G-Wagon.
Charge
S-Wagon.
150K. No, the highlight for me was probably the Aurora. I mean that was really I don't know. I don't want to say, I don't know how to describe it really, but it was really a cool moment to see something totally natural happening, and have such like a burst of flavor, or burst of color, was really cool.
Flavorful
James,
color.
What did you do,
Flavorful.
James?
What did I do?
Mm-hmm.
Low key, stayed local. Was good.
Gummies,
Just low key.
Matt?
turkey.
So we went
Turkey
to
gummies.
we went to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And for those of you who doesn't know what Pigeon Forge is, imagine a theme park in the middle of the mountains with banjos and Jesus. That's pretty much
Paula
Pigeon
Deen.
Forge. It is Paula Deen. So funny story. We actually had Thanksgiving dinner at Paula Deen's restaurant, which is actually, so it's a good gig. It's $35 a head. It's all you can eat, and basically
so
they bring
cheap.
it out. Well, and they bring it out family style. So literally bring you, ham
getting
and
horse.
pork and
No horse.
turkey and all the sides and everything, and it's all you care to eat, as they say. And so it was a good thing, But the cool thing about Pigeon Forge, in my opinion, is that you have all the bullshit on the main strip if you want to go and here is us at Paula Deen's restaurant. So you have all the crap on the strip, go karts and slingshots and roller coasters and different stuff and Ferris wheels, But at the same time, you can literally go through and within 15 minutes, be out of all of that and actually in the middle of nowhere, with mountains and scenery and all that, So it was, my in-laws are getting up there in age. They really can't do as much as they used to. So it was really kind of low key, and we just spent time together, and
That's what it's about,
reminiscing.
though.
And yeah,
Right?
exactly. I mean, it was really nice because, a lot of times we go up there and you're going to dinner theaters and you're doing something freaking every minute of the day. And this trip was a little more laid back, which was a nice change of pace for me because I'm on the go all the freaking time. So this was us here up in the mountains. We took a nice little family. I took my camera, my tripods. We did a little photo here in the mountains and everything up. And this was up in Cades Cove. Cades Cove, for those who don't know, is a massive nature loop that you literally drive about 2 miles an hour. But it's a big loop with mountains and everything, So a lot of wildlife, a lot of scenery. So yeah,
Seen
so
bears?
that was pretty much. We did see some bears. Saw it's actually the first time
Not
that we
Kevin.
didn't see any elk. Saw some deer, saw some bears. It was weird because they had a cold front coming through. The same cold front that ended up coming to Florida started there. So it was kind of a couple days was kind of rainy and hazy and everything before it got really cold. But no, it was a great trip. Very very laid back. Just spending time and bonded, so to speak.
Cool.
What about you, Kevin?
I went to, I think on the last podcast, we talked about dressing up like Corvette drivers, me and Savannah. So we went to Turkey Rod Run week. It's the 50th anniversary. So we went on Thanksgiving. And surprisingly, guys, I did not see any cars, except I saw one, like a probably 50s, 59 Cadillac DeVille that was black with red interior that was shaped really nice on bags. Other than that, I saw a bunch of cars that just looked like they just pulled out of someone's garage. Like Didn't see a lot of stuff, a lot of overpriced stuff, but just didn't see very much cool cars. And normally I would see like, oh man, I like this. No Porsches.
Like inspiration, like nothing.
Yeah, like I didn't see nothing. I just saw some piece of shit car that's just, just looked like it's been sitting in someone's garage for a long time. Nothing like really like, wow, that's cool. A lot of times I would see cars that are done by builders or something like that. People trying to sell. Didn't see that. There was a lot of cars this year. Me and my daughter, we actually took her T-Bucket, and
I love this picture.
There's another picture of, if you can find the one of us driving. So my T-Bucket has slicks. So we didn't go on Friday because there was crappy weather. On Saturday, we went, perfect day, really nice. My daughter's like, hey, you want to take a jacket? This actually jacket that I wear. And she packed a beanie. I was like, okay, fine. It got cold and it rained. We had to wait probably about 2 hours for the rain to go through. And I caught a patch. We took A1A, and you can see the rain. So that is Daytona. So you take that strip all the way down to A1A, you make a left, and I had to drive about 50 miles going 25 to 45 miles per hour because it's a T-Bucket. So it's,
no traction.
Yeah, it's pretty low. I had to turn the intakes around so the water wouldn't get in them. And no traction. Savannah definitely saw me when we were going. Sometimes the winds push in or something, pitch black. And both of my hands were on the steering wheel because as the car was bouncing, it was kind of doing this, skating. So it was, and I have drum brakes all the way around. So as you can see, you have to anticipate the stop, but I also have to be away from everybody. My car did this is the first, I've been going to this for a very long time, but it's always cold. This is the first time that we've actually taken this. A lot of people were asking for sale. I did not get to dress up because the New Balance shoes that I bought, they were too fat. I had to drive with 2 feet in this car. So they were too big.
And comfortable.
Yes.
So I did put them on, and I was like, wow, now I see why everybody wears these things.
He sees the appeal.
I don't see the appeal, but they do have a lot of art support. We did not wear them, so we're going to probably wear them at like Rolex.
So can I ask a question, though?
Yeah.
Do you think that there was no cool cars because of what we talked about, a couple episodes back about SEMA and etc., like not being as involved? Or did we talk about that? I think we talked about that. Do you think that people like car builders are backing out of those sort of things, even on the local level like that on Thanksgiving?
I can't say because there was a lot of cars there. It was probably more crowded than I've seen it before. I didn't go last year, but 2 years ago we went, and there was a lot of nice cars. So honestly, you want to know my opinion? My opinion is, even though there was a lot of people there, I just don't think people could afford to take their car to a car show and just park their car there because it is Thanksgiving, gas prices and disposable income. I think there was a lot more people, and the swap meet was a lot bigger. So I also think people were trying to sell more stuff. Tons of people selling stuff. There must have been like 20 or 30 people selling Hot Wheel cars. There was 1 or 2 that you would see. A lot of people selling stuff that
the
normally
hot rods you really wanted.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah,
dude. I love my father dearly, more than anything. And, he's rebuilding a 67 Oldsmobile 442. He's had it, I think we talked about before on the first podcast, since like 68. And so when we go to the Turkey Rod Run, we'll get into the swap meet and he'll fucking stay there all day. I mean, he's literally stopping at every booth and looking at fucking nuts and bolts and shit and be like, oh, I need this. I can't find this. And rightfully so. He's wrong. We talked about earlier, where, you try to get a body panel. It's just something stamped out of China, so it's beneficial for him. But, we'll be there all day long and not even get to the cars because we're stuck on the swap meet the entire day.
And so I did talk to, I did meet with one of my a vendor that I make parts for hot rods. And he actually said normally he would sell 1 to 2 a day of these carb kits. He sells like Rochester carb kits for these cars, which I have on my car. And he said I mean, we sat there for like 2 hours bullshitting with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I've sold hardly anything." He actually said this is probably gonna be the last time he goes, and it will probably be my last time that I go as well. It's been a kind of tradition that we go to, but that's not what I'm into anymore. And we did it because it was literally.
And if it sucks, then who wants to go back?
Well, I just don't. I don't think it necessarily sucks. I just think that now, hey, I rather Relics is coming up. I rather just do other things with my family. I mean, you guys know I go to St. Augustine
or
a
with
lot.
James.
Mm-hmm.
I hang out with James, so I just it's not. Things do cost money. I mean, even though we stayed in St. Augustine, I don't know if I showed you guys a picture. I had a slice of pizza, and she had stale nachos. It was $25.
That's
Wow.
ridiculous, man. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, Kevin signed up for his first air-cooled rally.
Yeah,
this week.
Fantastic.
And
Congratulations.
it's like literally a half an hour away from my house. It's in like Mount Dora and Mount Dora, and the other one's
that's the Gator something,
Groveland.
right?
Gator Crawl.
Gator
Yeah.
Crawl, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my I'm gonna go to that and drive. Hopefully there won't be a lot of bicyclists driving
there
around.
you go.
But James, you've been there 3 times?
Yeah, I've done it 2 or 3 times. It's great. It's really chill.
Yeah.
There's no mountains, a lot of 90-degree turns, but a great group of people.
So that does
And,
bring up a point back to the same thing we talked about, because I was talking to the organizer and he said he's bringing in some BMWs and a couple other people. I just don't think, the economy, when you have so much money, you have to figure out what you're going to spend your money on. And, some of these events they can get, while they're definitely, that's how
they're getting pricier. They're definitely getting pricier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gas is going up, and then, everything else. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm doing mine to hopefully network with some, group of people and, sell some stuff maybe. We'll see.
If you network, you can write it off.
Oh, don't worry. I already, the trip got paid for through the company. So
Yeah, exactly.
so not the company.
Well, gentlemen,
that I work for full time, but another one in case my manager is
of
listening.
course. Yeah, I love it. Well, gents, that's an hour.
See, look, flew by.
Flew by, right? It's 2 hours tonight. So how about that? So guys, for those listening at home, thank you so much. Thank you for sticking around for episode 4. Follow us, whiskeywatchesandwheels.com. Find us on Instagram, Whiskey Watches and Wheels, YouTube, Whiskey Watches and Wheels. Download the podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, all your normal podcast places. Gentlemen, it's been real. Like and subscribe, as Casey would say.
That's right.
All right, guys. You guys have a phenomenal evening. We'll talk to you guys later, all right?
Thanks,
Bye.
See you guys.